Hey, good morning. This is Joe from Citrus County Porch Life, bringing you Daily Word for Men for October 29th, 2024, Tuesday. And the daily word for today is enough. Your unfailing love is better than life itself. How I praise you as long as I live. Lifting up my hands to you in prayer, you satisfy me more than the richest feast. I will praise you with songs of joy. It is common for a man to want things to be easy. When we say this, we mean waking up not too early, doing productive things without trouble, and having good relationships with no drama. We want to enjoy life, but some philosophers believe that when life is too much like this, men go looking for trouble. We want to be challenged. If life is too sweet, we go looking for lemons. This is not far from the truth if we sit back and look at our lives. We lack something we cannot put our finger on. When is life enough? Our lack or desire to mix it up is the God-sized hole in each of us. We are satisfied when we find peace, where God meets us, and excitement, peace, ease, and thrill all come together in a satisfying manner. God is more than enough. And the question is, what is your source of excitement or trouble, and how can God fill that void? Well, I didn't mention that the quote was from Psalm 63, verse 3 through 5, the New Living Translation. Well, in this first paragraph here, you're waking up not too early, doing productive things without trouble, and having good relationship with no drama. Well, I never found that to exist in anything I ever did in this world. Everything has drama. There's always, you always run into issues when you try to do something productive. It was in IT. Something would always go down at the most critical time. A machine would fail, a circuit would fail. I have to wait 24, 48 hours for IBM to come and replace the part. And since it was a summer weekend, no one wanted to come in and wait for them, so it was my job just I get to work, have to make sure I had a phone by me, and wait for IBM to call to say that they were going to go pick the part up at the airport. And sometimes I blow the whole weekend sitting there by myself listening to radio. Yeah, you know, and it wasn't all the time, but it certainly was not infrequent. Don't you hate when people use double negatives? And sleeping too early, it seemed like I just put my head down on a pillow and it was time to get up to go to work. I always work third shift, so the waking up early, I would wake up late. So I don't. And then relationships. You come from a big family, and you have 12 people in a family in a small apartment. There's always going to be drama. Drama of a kid's sister that has to go in and wash her hair for about an hour and a half when you got to use the bathroom. Competition for the old telephones that were on the wall. And when I think of my conversations for my friends that I hung around with, and when my sister picked up the phone, like it was like, I know this is going to be at least 45 minutes. But mine was, hey Bob, I'm going to go to the pool at the boys club. You want to come with me? Okay, I said, all right, I'll meet you there in about half hour. And that was the whole conversation, maybe 20 seconds. So I never found life too sweet that I was going to look for lemons that were more sour. That didn't happen. Yeah, as I mentioned before, I'm in AA, and I heard a wonderful woman speak about what causes us to drink. Many people are convinced that alcoholism is a spiritual, physical, and emotional problem, with the spiritual being the most important. And they mentioned here our lack or desire to mix it up is the God-sized hole in each of us. And she always described our condition as that, a God-sized hole waiting to be filled up with God. And I can remember her speech. That was one of the ones that I'll never forget. So it asks, what is your source of excitement or trouble, and how can you fill that void? Well, mine is constant learning. I love reading. I love reading history. I like the Civil War. I like the Russian Revolution. I like reading books about fiction regarding chess. Of course, I like math, and I like physics, and I like taking courses. Now, I'm 74 years old, and I don't feel like doing it. I would have to be working on my PhD, which I'm not going to do, but I don't mind taking those courses and sitting there and learning, and it just stimulates my mind. What are the trouble? Well, the biggest problem that I have in my life is that I'm an alcoholic, and I have a daily reprieve, and I pray to God for that daily reprieve. And God has pretty much filled that void for me. The minute I got sober, I started doing things. I went to school. I took 4 years of Russian language, history, and literature. I began an earnest study of the Bible. I started volunteering with all the time I had off, and I teach GED math at the library. And these are all good things. These are things that help me and my fellow man. Once I learned the Russian, there was quite a expat Russian population in Rhode Island, and I would take them to find out about jobs. Take them, once I could speak to them, fluently, I would take them to the store and show them how things work, because they did not have that in the Soviet Union. And one guy wanted to know about sausages. I took him to a store of sausages. I had called the guy up, Italian guy, and he said, "Oh, we'd love to see him." And he brought him in, and he gave him all these free sausages. And I had one guy that he couldn't get a good job if he was a religious Jew. And I told him, in the United States, people might not even know you're Jewish. We don't record that anywhere. I said, but if you do want to learn about it, I'll call a rabbi. And so I did. I called a rabbi up, and I took him over to meet the rabbi while he was in the process of getting his license. And yeah, that worked out well. He was able to reconnect with his faith and you know, all his relatives in faith. And this guy had done the air conditioning. I think it was 1980 Olympics. Then I worked very closely with a guy who was a helicopter pilot in Afghanistan when the Russians invaded Afghanistan, and I became very close to his family. They loved me, I loved them. So, yeah, God helps you fill it up with good, productive things. He'll help fill that void, and it's an ongoing process. I keep learning every single day. So that's enough for me. Have a safe and holy day, and see you tomorrow.